Welcome back to the Finding Joy in Your Home podcast. Very excited to talk about this topic today. It's one that I have had requested a bunch in the last few weeks, and I'm finally just now having the time to sit down and do this episode. So for some of you, you're well into your summer plans. That's okay. There's still plenty of summer left to chat about this. Some of you are noticing that we are back having our podcast here on video. We have taken a very extended break from having it on video because, as you can imagine, moving into the RV and all of the, having a baby and then all of the different moving that we have done this year has just made it really hard to figure out a consistent way to get the video done, because the video is so much harder than just being able to be in my pajamas and record a quick podcast episode. So we are back here trying to make the video consistent again. You'll notice this is not like the most professional setup we have here. Jason's going to play with it for next week to kind of get us a better setup. But today he was starting to try to get it set up, and he promised that he was going to take the kids down swimming, and everybody was in their swimsuits ready to go, waiting. And I was like, you know what? We'll just video like this. Next week, we'll try to kind of get a better setup so I don't have to sit here and hold the microphone. So we are back though. I know a lot of you have been missing being able to have the podcast over on YouTube. And so we're back to getting that done, which a very huge thank you to Jason, because I was like, I think we need to figure out getting the video back. And he's like, oh, I know. It just is so much more work. Like on the back end, it is a lot. It's more than double the amount of time for Jason to also do the video portion. So thank you, Jason. Any of you who like to watch the video portion, let's give a huge thank you to Jason. I mean, really for the whole podcast too, because he does it all. I take half an hour to record and then he does the rest. Okay, so today's episode is coming later in the summer. Last year I did a similar episode. No clue what I covered in that episode. I did not re-listen to it. But I was just talking about summer plans and how we, as a homeschool family, as a family with 8 kids at home, what do we do? What are our summer plans? You don't have to homeschool to get a lot out of this. We're all very much in similar boats when it comes to summer and having our kids home. For us, obviously, as a homeschool family, like that's pretty normal. We're home all the time together. And so it's not that different of a change of pace for us. Whereas I could see if your kids are in a private school or public school, they're gone all day and then suddenly everybody's home all the time. That's quite an adjustment. But even with us being homeschooled, being home all the time, summer schedules are different, and there definitely is an adjustment period. So if you're feeling like maybe summer started out great and now you're struggling, or it's been a struggle the whole time, give yourself time. There's always the opportunity to say, hey, this schedule isn't working. We're going to change it up. And I do that all the time. So even though what I'm going to share today are the tips and tricks and schedules that are working well right now, so come the middle of July, some of these schedules might not be working as well. And we're on the fly just going to change things and figure out what works and what doesn't work. All right, so I just ditched the microphone because the microphone's not working. It has turned off, so we're just going to, sadly today, we're going to go off of the phone audio. So for the audio podcast listeners, I'm sorry if this is not as great of quality, but we're just going to roll with it because we got to get this episode done. And Jason's down swimming with the kids, so I don't have my tech guy to figure it out for me. All right, so let's talk about summer plans, what we do. I want to start off with a little bit of encouragement first. So we have all probably seen those reels. We've all heard that saying that you only have 18 summers with your kids. And on one hand, I love that reminder. I do think that we need that reminder, especially when you're in the thick of raising your kids, when you've got young kids. I think by the time you hit high school, all of a sudden you're like, oh, this goes really fast. But younger than that, especially in the real little kid years, it feels really, really, really long. And you know, I love that reminder of you only have 18 summers, so make good use of them. Now, on the other hand, though, in the busy of life, in the messy of life, in certain really hard seasons, that can feel like a noose around your neck to be like, there's only 18 summers. Don't waste a single one. And I agree. However, we need to take that intense pressure off of ourselves. If we're thinking every minute of summer needs to be fun and we need to be scheduled, and you know, it's putting so much pressure. And like when I think back to my summers as a kid, I mean, we just ran wild and free and like stayed up way late. We just played video games all the time, but we also played outside all the time. Like it was like both my parents worked full time. My parents were divorced. And so like it was a free for all. all summer. Like there was no scheduled events. We did not do summer camps. Like there was literally nothing. So my point is we can recognize that time is short and we don't want to waste a single second. But at the same time, I think we need to take that intense pressure off ourselves that every second of summer needs to be scheduled and amazing and intentional. There can be so much beauty in just a slower season of sleeping in a little later and just having slow mornings. Like we don't have to overschedule. And some of you might be facing the opposite. Maybe your summer is so busy and packed that you're mourning the fact that you don't have slow mornings and you wish you had that. Let's recognize that we all have different seasons. We all have different stages. And so wherever God has put you for this summer, embrace that season and know that God is in those details. God is caring for the seasons, even if it looks different than you want. This summer for us, so far, Lord willing, is a really calm summer. And that's something that the last few years we've not had. Our last summer last year was incredibly stressful, incredibly busy, incredibly crazy, and just go, move. Where did the summer go? No rest. Like it was a season of leaning into this is what the Lord has for us, and we're going to be joyful. This summer, Lord willing, is going to be a season more of rest for us. And so embrace that season that you're in. Know that God has a plan for it, and be okay with what God has for you. We do not have any crazy family vacations planned. We have zero budget for any sort of thing like that. And so, depending on the season you're at, someone might be jealous that we have a slower season compared to, we're still very busy running our business and everything and 8 kids, but compared, it's slower. So someone could be jealous of that. I could look at someone who's going off to Maui and feel jealous of that, right? We need to make sure that we are embracing the season God has given us and realizing there is a time for all things and that we can be content with what God has given us right now. And with what God has given you for this summer, how can you make the best of it? What are things that you can do to make the best of the season, the life situation, what have you, that you're at? All right. So summer plans. First thing, relax. Summer doesn't need to be high pressure. Just be present, be around, do some things when you can. And don't stress that there's only 18 summers left, or there's probably less than that for many of your children. Relax, just lean into today. Be there today. Okay, so for us personally, we do have a few summer plans this summer. We have decided, because we don't have it in the budget to do any big crazy plans, and the last 12 to 18 months, we didn't do anything ever. It was just, and we did, we moved, we did all kinds of stuff, but not we're going to go relax by the lake or anything like that. So what we decided we were going to do this summer without a big budget is that we were going to do some camping trips. And we have only gone camping. This is funny because we live in an RV and we traveled around the country in an RV, but we really we're not ever camping. We have never stayed in our RV without electricity, without full hookups. We've never done any sort of dirt camping, even in the RV. And so we're going to be tent camping in the dirt, dry camping. And we're really excited about it. Jason and I are not actually super big dirt campers. It's not our favorite thing. However, it's such a fun family thing. So we're both kind of getting over, I don't like sleeping on the ground. That's not my version of super fun, but the kids are so excited. So for the last step, we really did this because I was I want to take some adventures this year. How could we do this without, our large family of 10? We have to get 2 hotel rooms, anywhere you go, and eating out. We cannot eat out for less than $100. Even Chick-fil-A is easily $100. And so, what can we do? How can we take some adventures this year and keep it crazy low cost? And so I was okay, Jason, let's go camping. And no, we're not taking our RV. Our RV is way too large. This is where we live. We are planted now. This thing does not move. It is an absolute nightmare. We have to take 2 cars. This is not an RV that you're taking around, nor do we want to. It is planted. Plus, you still have to pay for RV parks. It's not cheap. And so anyway, so we decided we're going to go tent camping. So for the last month and a half, I have been scouring Facebook Marketplace and thrift stores, and I have been gathering together our camping accessories. So we got a 10-person tent off of Facebook Marketplace for super cheap. And it's like brand new. We got it from a firefighter who had used it. He set it up once to like check it out, take it together. Then his wife got pregnant and they have several dogs and they were like, what were we thinking? We're not camping, never mind. And so it was brand new. We got it for like an incredible fraction of the price. Then we found a little 4-person tent at the thrift store for $10. So the older 4 boys are going to go in that tent. They're very excited. And then I have been gathering, I have 8 of the 9 sleeping bags we need. I got them all at thrift stores for $5 to $8 a piece. And we've just been slowly like gathering this stuff to be able to go do some really fun adventures this summer that is going to be extremely, extremely frugal. We're going to pack all of our food and we're really excited. Our first camping trip's coming up and we're going to just be an hour away. We're going an hour away to a state park. And it's going to be really fun. We're so excited that we just kind of got that gumption up to say, what could we do that could still be fun this summer? And so we're going to take, since we're getting all of this equipment, we're going to try to take a few trips to really kind of make it work well. But the fun thing is then next year, we're already going to have everything and we can plan some other fun trips. So it's kind of like, duh, go camping. It's very cheap. But I hadn't thought of it. And so that's what we've got. We've got some really fun stuff coming up for that. And we're just taking like 2-day camping trips. Like these are going to be like little camping trips here and there. And then the other thing that I really want to do with the kids is I've decided, so we're in North Carolina now, and we want to pull up a list of all of the state parks in North Carolina, and one by one, we want to go visit them. Now, of course, some of them are 3 or 4 hours away, but we've got a lot that are within an hour, within 2 hours, a really easy day trip. So I was on North Carolina's state park website, and I found that they have a North Carolina state park passport that you can pick up from like a local state park office, which we've got a couple really close here. And so we're going to go this week and the kids are all going to get a passport. And then at every single state park, you go to like the ranger station and they'll stamp your state park booklet. So that I thought would be a really fun thing. Jason's working really, really long hours this summer. And so I thought that would be a really fun thing that the kids and I can get out and do some adventuring, but that's not too crazy. Like we love going out on hikes and walks. So we'll bring the stroller and just go like explore our local state parks and we'll get those passport books. Like that is literally free. Free, easy to do, and fun. Our family likes goals. Like, okay, can we visit all of the state parks? And it gives you kind of a direction too. That's one thing we learned when we were traveling full time around the United States. Our goal was all 63 national parks. Now we are at like 40, 45 or 46. We're really high up there. All we have left in the continental US is Acadia National Park in Maine, which we are hoping to go to a camping trip in October. Acadia National Park, Mammoth Caves in Kentucky, because we just did not hit that one for some reason. It's really close to the Creation Science Museum and the Ark Encounter. So next time we go there, we're going to hopefully do Mammoth Caves. And then we have not done Great Smoky Mountains National Park. We kept kind of waiting. We wanted to do that one really well. So we kind of just kept waiting to do it. And now we're only like 4 hours from it. So we're definitely going to try to hit that one as well. So those are the only 3 in the continental US that we have not done yet. And then there's 2 in Hawaii. There's 8 in Alaska, which who knows if we're going to get to those. There's 1 in the US Virgin Islands and the Samoa Islands. And then anyway, there's 2 more that you have to take a plane to get to. So we haven't done those like exotic ones, but we've done the rest. So the point is, we absolutely loved having that as kind of like our guide. When we were planning out our travels, it was all centered around where the national parks were. And it was great because it took us into parts of Montana and Colorado and places that we never would have gone. New Mexico, we were all over to get to their 3 national parks. And we never would have done most of that if we weren't kind of, okay, well, we have to go here, so plan a trip. So I really like that about hitting all of the state parks. We wanted to do that in Oklahoma, was eventually get to all the state parks in Oklahoma. And we moved before we completed that. So now we really want to do that in North Carolina. And there's some really cool state parks here. So we're really excited about that. It just makes it like, okay, next week we want to go like on a hike. Let's just pick a state park and go. And some of them will be boring and some are going to be amazing. And so that's just going to be really fun. That's kind of what we're going to be working on. And then other than that, for summer, we just have a lot of slow days. I want in the summer, okay, so I'm a homeschool mom. And some of you are like, I don't want to think or do anything over summer. That's fine. I'm an overachiever. It's okay. I'm ridiculous and passionate and have a million things I want to do. And I'm apparently brewing that in my children too. So for the summer, I love the idea of being able to explore different topics and things that we don't have time for in the school year. So fun, like passion projects, not like you need to sit down and do this work that you hate and you're going to cry through. No, like what are really fun things you want to explore? Our kids two of our boys do a lot of coding. So they'll do like coding during the day and just like fun stuff that we just don't always have time for in the school year. And for myself as well. So like, I love having this time off regular school because now that we've got 2 middle schoolers, so for next year, we're going to have 2 7th graders, 2 5th graders, 4th grader, and then kindergartner, the 3-year-old and the 1-year-old. And so my homeschool days are very like hands-on and intense. And so the summer break is a time for me too, to get to read more books, I'm really working on my health and doing a lot of exercise, getting out on doing a lot of walks. That takes a lot of time. Summer's the perfect time for me to do that. So summer for us is just kind of like, this is project time. This is when we get to explore. So let's talk about what some of our kind of guidelines we have around summer. So on one hand, we're very relaxed, we're very chill, but on the other hand, it's not just a free for all. You get to just be on screens 24/7 or anything like that. So we definitely put up some guardrails for that. We're not, I'm just going to say it. We're not anti-screen. We're not, we want our kids to read a ton. We want our kids to be outside a ton. And that's happening. And so we're okay with some screens. However, I will tell you for our summer got started a little bit late this year, but for our summer so far, like the kids might get on at like 7 p.m. like after the littles are down and be like, can we play Stardew Valley? And like, they'll play out video games for 2 hours before bed. And like, that's been it. They've been so into all this other stuff that we've been doing that even though they're allowed to play earlier in the day, they really haven't been because there's so much. And then there's some days like Saturday, we were really just home a lot on Saturday. And so the kids played and they played all their games together and they played for a few hours together in like the middle of the day. And it was fine. Like it worked great because I'm happy with our balance of like, they're outside hours a day. They're reading actually a couple hours a day. And so I'm not freaked out at this point that it needs to be 0 screens. Now, there's definitely times where if you feel like, oh my gosh, the screen usage is out of hand. So for me, I feel like I need to limit screens in the winter more often. So in the summer, we have 0 problem getting outside. If in the summer you're feeling like your kids are just sitting on screens all day long, absolutely. That's times where you go in and you're like, we're going to set schedules. We're saying no, let's go. We're going out on a hike, whatever. Like you might need to work at it a little bit more. For us, that's more in the winter because, and especially living in the RV, because there's just not as much to do. And so when it's really rainy, when it's really freezing, we're just naturally doing a little bit more screens or we're watching a lot more family movies. We felt like we don't have the time in the summer as much to do that. We're out so much later. And so in the winter, that's when we are like, okay, we need to set some rules around this and maybe kind of rein back a little. So depending on your family and your kids, and there are certain kids who you do need to watch more and say, hey, you've been on that too long. And there's other kids who just don't have as much of an interest. And so we're okay. We're not like anti-screens and we're not doing a no screen summer. You might be doing that and that's wonderful. So for us, what we do is we do have like guidelines. There's certain things that the kids have to do every single day before they're allowed to play a video game or watch a movie. With our boys, it's more video games. So like a lot of times they're wanting to do Stardew Valley or Minecraft or whatever. We really don't watch a lot of TV during the day. The little kids might watch a little bit, but it's the video games that the kids are wanting to play. And again, Jason and I are we're not completely anti-video game. So we've done some tech episodes that you can go listen to. And some of you are going to disagree and you hate video games and you don't want them in your house. That's completely fine. And some kids can handle them and some kids cannot. So we're really, really strict that if there's any bad attitudes at all, if there's fighting, if kids are having poor attitude when we say it's time to be done, like you lose all video game privilege. And like, we're really strict on that. And I think because we've always been that way, we have really decent attitudes. It's not perfect. And there are times where kids lose, okay, you lose video games for tomorrow or for next week. That's the big punishment on the second offense, you lose it for a week. Third offense, it's another week. So we're really, really strict on that. And so I think that definitely does help. You have to have some pretty strict guidelines when it comes to screens and when it comes to video games. But if you can uphold those really strict guidelines, it can also, it can really help. And we really don't have a lot of bad attitudes or struggles when it comes to video games. They actually often just lose video games as a punishment for something else, like they didn't obey or something like that. Okay, so the first thing that we're doing that's been really, really fun is we're doing a reading challenge. We like to do reading challenges a couple times a year, and we haven't done one now in a while. So we're doing a summer reading challenge. The summer reading challenge is that at the bare minimum, Monday through Saturday, so they don't have to do it on Sunday. They have no requirements on Sunday other than like help clean up chores. Sundays are a day of rest, and we want our Sundays to be joyful days home. And so if you want to read on Sunday, great, but you have no requirements to. So Monday through Saturday, though, you have to read 2 hours a day, just throughout the day. Yes, audiobooks count. However, we do have one child who would just exclusively 100% listen to audiobooks. So I do get on him sometimes to say, hey, here's a physical book. I need you to sit in front of me and you're going to read it for an hour. Because I want him doing both, but audiobooks are okay as well. So they have a minimum of 2 hours a day. Like you have to do that before you can play video games, before you can do anything else. You have to read for 2 hours collectively, which sounds like a lot of time, but it's not. I mean, by the time they're reading, and if we ever go in the car, the kids will bring their books and read for half an hour and use that time to read. And, it works out well. So that's the bare minimum on our reading challenge, 2 hours a day. If you don't complete that 2 hours, then you can make it up the next day. So like yesterday, we were really busy. One of my sons only did it like an hour. So he's going to make up like an hour today. But for most of the time, like that's not difficult at all. And one thing that we do with reading that we make more fun is that we're always going to the library, and Jason and I are both always helping them research new series and new books, because as an adult, I know that it's hard when you're reading a book and you get really bored. It's hard to keep going, hard to keep reading. So we're really always on the hunt for fun, different books. We like to split it up 50-50, 50% fiction, 50% nonfiction. But I really like the kids to be able to kind of follow their interests. So I will assign things. I'll say, hey, no, you have to read a history book. But are you interested in World War II? Are you interested in like what sort of history? Same with science. Like I really like to be able to follow their interests. One of my sons, who is definitely going to be a farmer when he grows up, he just wants books on welding and woodworking and farming and taking care of animals. Like that's his jam. And so I'm always looking for different books for him. And so really just trying to, so he's reading right now, the James Herriot books, which are just perfect for him. And so like being able to follow their interests really helps, and it gets them excited. So we go to the library once a week, and then like our library days, they just spend the rest of the day reading because they're so excited about their new books. Now, it's not always perfect. There's absolutely times where I'm like, hey, you need to read. Like, nope, you're not doing anything else. You need to read. We do obviously keep track of it. And so, I don't want to make it sound, sometimes you listen to a podcast and you're like, wow, their children are perfect and it's so easy for them. And it's not. And our children are older. So like the 5-year-old, the 2-year-old, the not even 1-year-old, they're obviously not reading. They're off playing video games, not playing video games, playing like blocks or like playing outside or letting them watch a show. Like it's different. When they were younger, it was definitely harder. And for like a 6-year-old, I wouldn't necessarily have like a 2-hour limit. But we have 7th graders, 5th graders, and a 4th grader. And so their reading is a lot more and they're required more, and they can handle more. And so, and my one son who has the hardest time reading, he is the slowest, he listens to a lot more audiobooks, and I will allow him to listen to more audiobooks than I would let the other kids. So there's always like case by case. If 2 hours wouldn't work for your family, do something completely different. We have done just page counts before. We have done amount of time. We have done number of books in the past. So like play with it, make it work for your family. So that's our bare minimum reading challenge. Like you just have to do that as part of your daily schedule. And then by July 31st, if you have read 20 books, we're going to do, so the bare minimum reading challenge, if everybody reads 2 hours a day, but everybody has to do it, which is good because then they get on each other and say, you have to read. If everybody does it, then we're going to do like a fun little ice cream party, which I want to do anyway as like a fun end of summer thing. So we're going to do an ice cream party. And then if every person has to read 20 books, Then, and there's size requirements on these. So we really like the Who Was books, but Who Was books only count for half a book. They have to read 2 of those in order to qualify as a single book. And then my daughter picked up a book that's 500 pages, and I told her if she reads that one, it'll count as 2 books because she's only going into 4th grade. So there's, we change it up depending on the child and the age. So if they read 20 books, everybody reads 20 books, then we're going to get a new Switch game. And then if everybody reads 30 books, which the 30 books is a stretch, it's the big goal, although they're all on track for, most of them are on track for it so far. If they read 30 books, then there's another prize that I don't remember, but everybody has to do it. So that's been really fun and also just like motivating and exciting. And I am so not above bribing to get them to read. Because I think the thing is, even as an adult, when I am really into a book, when I'm reading a lot, I want to read more and I want to pick up the next book. And you get excited and you get out of reading and then you just don't pick up a book. And so I want to kind of help force that on the kids. Like, you finished your book, pick up another one right away, because once you get into the next series, you're fine. But I want to just kind of help with that momentum. And so the reading challenge can do that and can make it really fun and exciting. Okay, so that's the one requirement they have to do each day, in addition to chores and stuff like that. They've got to do their daily reading. And then the second thing is that everybody has a summer project. And this is where we really, over the last 2 months, really developed, and they've already been working on them. But I call them their summer projects because they need to be done by July 31st. And we have more time in the summer. And this is where it's very interest led. So this kind of developed over a while. One of my sons really couldn't figure out what he wanted to do for quite a while. We had, he was going to code a website as his goal. He really wasn't excited about it. And so we really just kind of played with this for a while until we figured out what is it that you want to work on over the summer? So we have 4 different summer projects going on. The first one, my son who's going to be a farmer, we went to Lowe's, and now that we're stationary in a single spot, we are doing a little container garden outside. So we went to Lowe's, he got several tomato plants, he got some zucchini, he got some peppers, not zucchini, he got cucumber because they want to do pickles. I think he got one other thing. And so that's part of his summer project is he's watering them every day. He's taking care of them. He's already had to transplant the little ones one time. So that's just part of his, he's completely in charge of them. His first tomatoes actually turned red yesterday and he was so excited, and it was a big tomato, and he had everybody go around and take a bite, and he was like, this is the best tomato I've ever had, which we've done a lot of gardening, and he was heavily involved in that. But that was 2 years ago now, because last year we didn't do a garden because we were moving. And so I think he just forgets, it's amazing when you have grown something yourself and you've got this big juicy tomato. And so that's been really, really fun, but that's not daily. I mean, he has to water it and stuff, but it doesn't take a lot of time. So he is doing a little additional research project on farming, on the profitability of farming, how can you actually run a farm full time? And so he's just doing a little research project. So on the kids' schedule, they have to work at least 30 minutes a day on their summer project. So for him, he's just reading books, he's listening to podcasts, he's doing articles. We have a subscription to, I'm going to forget, I cannot, Traditional Homestead, something like that. It's a membership site. Anyway, it's kind of expensive, but we signed up for it for research for him. So he's watching videos in that, and he's going to be writing kind of just a little research project throughout the summer. So he's not as excited about the research part of it, but he needed to do something a little bit more than just. Now, if we had property and he was doing a big garden, that absolutely could take all of his time, but these little container gardens definitely don't. So that's project number 1. The second project we have, Magnolia and Remington are both working on this together, even though they're making their own. They are my 2 that are the most interested in cooking. They want to make recipes every single day. So they are kind of putting together their own cookbook. So pretty much every day they make a different recipe. Or some of the days, tomorrow, their assignment is going to be to go through my cookbooks, pick 3 or 4 recipes for this week, write down the ingredients you need so I can add them to the grocery list. And that'll be kind of their part of the project for the day. And then they're also working on typing up recipes, and then I'm giving them a Canva template that they can start putting them into, which anybody can do. Go to Canva. You can use a free Canva account, type in cookbook templates, and they will pop up. And you know what? I'm pretty sure Canva even has their own like printing. So like if you wanted your kids to make a cookbook, you guys, should I make a course on this for the app? That is a really good idea, huh? We might need to do that. Teaching you guys how to do it so your kids can make their own cookbook. Because I'm pretty sure then Canva, you can go in and actually just like I think they've partnered with some sort of printer, and you can even just print right from Canva, and like they'll mail you a printed copy, which is so cool. So that's what they're working on. I don't know that theirs will really be fully done by July 31st, partly because some of that will involve my help and me helping to help them. But they are taking pictures of their recipes that they're making, and they're going to kind of put it together into their own Magnolia and Remington cookbook, which is really fun. And they've been having a blast with that. But because they're cooking so much more on their own, there's also a lot of teaching of like, okay, so you guys left the vanilla out and the sugar, like you have to put away each ingredient after you use it. And then they're also in charge of doing all the dishes and all the cleanup. So what we're working towards is if they step into the kitchen to make a recipe, especially a fun recipe where they just want to make donuts or something, then the kitchen needs to look like it was before you stepped into the kitchen. And that's part of the teaching and the training. Whereas if they're making dinner for the family, then all of the cleaning doesn't necessarily, doesn't fall on them then. Okay. And then my other son, this is my son who was really struggling to figure out what he wanted to do. He is writing a book, and he is like, I already told, like, watch you guys. I said, like, you are going to be an author one day, like for sure. He's been so self-motivated with this. I cannot claim any part of this. He has just been, he's been amazing. He's writing out his book. He's on Google Docs and he's figuring things out and playing with the fonts. And he's like 30 pages in, which is just mind blowing. But he's been working on this for a while, but he decided this was going to be his summer project. He wants to finish it by July 31st. And then I told him, this is where our knowledge helps. I told him that we can actually like bind it into a real book, and we, through our printers that we order our Sterling Spectacles books, we can order him a like author copy. And he's like over the moon excited. He's very sweet because he's already like, if it's good enough, can we put it in the app? And I'm like, well, this is part of learning and teaching, is it's not going to be good enough for the app yet, but if you keep going, you absolutely could. And so he's absolutely loving it. And nowadays with resources like ChatGPT, using AI, he is actually making a full book cover for his thing too. It's just, the resources now are really fun. So of course, this is not a book that he's going to send off to publishers or anything, but what an incredible project. And so he works a ton on that thing. And I'm so proud of him. He's amazing. And then the last one, this kid actually was going to work on a book, and he was working on it and then decided he didn't want to. So he's getting started later on his summer project. This is one of our oldest sons. He has learned how to do video editing. Jason has taught him how to do video editing. He's been editing my recipe videos because we're like, have a backlog of several hundred recipe videos for the cookbooks. And so he's been learning how to do those and getting them done. He gets paid for it to get them uploaded into the app. And so he's really interested in learning, all that audio and video editing. So what he is actually working on is he is creating a Sterling, and this will be on the app, so watch out for it. He is creating a Sterling Spectacles audio drama. So you think about, I'm starting to lose the words. I'm so tired. What is it called? Adventures in Odyssey. So if you think about Adventures in Odyssey episodes, basically like that, but doing it Sterling Spectacles. And if you guys don't know, Sterling Spectacles is the book series that Jason has written. Books 7 and 8 are actually coming out next week, you guys. Next week. So Sterling Spectacles 7 and 8. And he's writing scripts for it. He's writing scripts for it, and then all of the kids are going to be recording the voices, and he's editing it together. So him and Jason already did a sample episode to really see, and they're putting like, one of the things is like they're in the car and somebody spills water, so there's water sloshing noises and like the car noise. So they're adding in all of the like sound effects and stuff, which is just, it's a ridiculous amount of work, but it's really fun and really cool. So he already has like 10 episodes planned out, and I think he's written the first 1 or 2. And so this week he's going to start recording and having all the kids like come in and record the different things. So his summer project is to have season 1 done by July 31st. So it's just amazing. It's so fun. And I want to encourage you, because I have very often heard, I mean, maybe your kids are doing amazing things. But I heard a lot of like homeschooling podcasts, especially, that was like, your kids are playing the violin and like, just like all these massive, incredible things. And it's like, my kid's over there, like picking his nose, like, okay. And it's only recently that the older kids are really starting to come into their own passions, and really starting to figure out the things that they like. And it's one of my deepest things that as a homeschool mom I want to do is encourage those passions. So I am very like, okay, if you want to learn to code, let's look up YouTube videos. Let's see if there's an online program we can do. And so I pour a lot of my time and energy into those things of wanting to explore different businesses and different just interests. And some of them might be fleeting and some of them might stick for life. And so I just want to encourage you that if your kids are not like that, if they're not as passionate, if they're passionate about dirt bikes or they're passionate about soccer, that's incredible. Like whatever that passion is, nurture it and get it excited. Like it doesn't have to all look the same. Our family is very nerdy. We like to read, like that's something we like. Whereas we have other families, like music is their passion and we have zero music. Like we don't, and I'd like to do more of that. So just like a total reminder, let's not compare ourselves to other families. There's all the time, if I'm on Instagram, if I'm listening to podcasts, it's so easy to feel bad about the things that you just naturally do well. And you can take that for granted. And then you're like, oh, but I wish we did this and that and this. So I share our story just because like, I want to encourage you, like follow passions. But if your summer looks like our passion is we just want to go swimming every single day and go bike riding, that's amazing. That is awesome. So, a part of it too is living in an RV. We really do have to, it's such a small space that we do maybe schedule things a little bit more probably when we're in the RV versus in a house. And so just figuring out like what works well for you in this season, where you're at right now. And I will say too, there's totally times with reading challenges, with summer projects, there are absolute times where you can start off super strong and it fizzles. And so will our kids hit the 30 books by July 31st? I don't know. I think there's a good chance they might. There's a good chance they're going to fizzle and not want to do it. And that's also okay. And so have your summer plans, be excited, do things. And if your plans get completely derailed, or if your days you start getting up later and later and things are just lazier, that's also okay too. So just be intentional with your time, but don't be overly panicked about it. Don't be like comparing to others. And when I list off that list, I'm like, wow, that sounds impressive. It's a lot, but really what our kids have is 2-hour reading a day and 30 minutes on a summer project. It's really not, you list it out and it seems so cool, but on a day-to-day basis, it's very chill and it's really not a whole lot. And I suspect that a couple of them are not going to fully finish their summer projects by July 31st. And I'm really okay with that. I'm not pushing them that they have to, like, they're going to fail 4th grade or something. I'm just very like, I really just what I want is them to spend 30 minutes doing something because most often if you start the 30 minutes, they're going to do it for an hour and a half. And some days it's like, well, it's been 20 minutes. Can I be done? I'm so bored. Okay, fine. Other days they start doing it and they start writing or when they make a recipe, they're always doing more than half an hour. And then they want to make a second recipe and then they're experimenting. And sometimes I have to be like, stop, you're wasting food now. I don't know what you're mixing together, but it's not edible. We have to have some guardrails on that. But it often ends up being way more than 30 minutes. And so that's why I really like setting up a summer project. Other ideas you could do if you want to do like chill ones is like learn to watercolor or take like Kids Art Hub on YouTube. Love their drawing resources. Have a kids work on like drawing pictures each day for 30 minutes or going outside and doing a nature hike. Like there's so many things that you could do that don't have to be, especially if your kids are younger. Because when my kids are younger, I couldn't even imagine like a kid making like an audio drama series. Like what on earth? And Micah will need help from Jason and I. He's not fully independent on that yet, although he is doing a lot of it. And that's also another lesson is our kids can probably handle and do a whole lot more than we think they can. My oldest, when they were 8, did not know how to just cook recipes on their own. My 5th born, who's 8, can do that. So they can do a lot more than we think they can too. And I am really always wanting to look for things that I can say yes to. And I'm looking for things to be like, I don't know if you can do that. But so Jason was a little bit more like, I don't know if he can really edit and like do a full audio drama like that. And I'm like, I bet he can. Let's let him see. And Jason's like, writing the script is really, really hard. And I'm like, I bet he can do it. Let's see. And if he can't do it, that's fine. But like, let's give our kids things and see what they do with it. And there's been projects. We've had projects in the past that have absolutely fizzled out. We've had projects that are like, that was not like, that didn't work, or they just lost interest in it. That absolutely happens too. Okay, it apparently just started raining. You're going to be able to hear it soon if you can't already hear it, because it gets really loud in our room. Our slate out is metal and it's so loud. And the kids are down at the lake, so I should probably go ahead and wrap this up. So those are just kind of some of the fun things. I just wanted to kind of give you some inspiration, but with that encouragement and reminder that this should just look whatever it should look like for your family. There's no prescription. And I just hope that you have, whatever your summer is supposed to be, that you would lean into that you would have joy, that you would get creative and say, I have these few things that have to happen. Maybe they're not ideal. So what can we do about them? Okay, I'm going to go now. Thank you guys so much for listening in. We'll see you guys back here next week for the next episode.